We're joined now by Myung-koo Kang. He's professor of political science at Baruch College, and he joins us from the Boston area. Professor, welcome to the program. I want to begin with Pompeo's visit to Pyongyang. Considering where we were just a few months ago, from the rhetoric, the name-calling, the threats, and the continuous missile tests by the DPRK, how significant and remarkable is Pompeo's visit?
Right, it's a remarkable and very significant thing. But at least President Trump dispatched CIA Director Pompeo. It highlights his intention if there's going to be a summit meeting between Trump and Kim Jong Un. The summit meeting should be a kind of epic turning point in terms of resolving quote unquote world problem, according to President Trump. So I think this dispatch and then high-level meeting between Pompeo and Kim Jong Un is very important, and then also recognize Kim Jong Un as a kind of somewhat reasonable or rational leader, somewhat negotiable kind of counterpart. I think that's very important.
So why is Kim Jong Un ready to talk now when he wasn't before?
In fact, at the end of last year, Kim Jong Un made it quite clear that North Korea has a full nuclear capability. Of course, here in the United States, we don't want to recognize North Korea as a nuclear power, but Kim Jong Un announced in the New Year address and the New Year speech, and also he declared that we are ready and we are fully nuclear power. So it's time to be recognized as a nuclear power, as a somewhat equal negotiating partner with the United States. I think that's the message. And then
Let me move on to what President Trump had to say. He almost took credit for the inner Korean talks that are supposed to happen next week and all the progress we've seen. He said, without us and without me in particular, referring to himself, I guess you would have to say they wouldn't be discussing anything. Does he have a point here? Did his maximum pressure campaign, in fact, pay off, or is it too soon to tell?
It's always a tricky thing how to evaluate the real effectiveness of sanctions, right? So maximum pressure, whether it was the real driving factor that Kim Jong Un forced him to come out and then negotiate about the denuclearization issue. But it seems to be clear compared to the previous regime here in the United States and other measures happened in the past. Somewhat, for the past year, President Trump's rhetoric or threat was somewhat pretty much credible to many to North Korean regime and then many involving actors related to the North Korean crisis. So credibility, U.S. has real intention to use military option against the North Korean regime, even, regime change in North Korea or decapitating, Kim Jong Un kind of thing. So I think that kind of credibility was very important, and in terms of enforcing, Kim Jong Un coming out and then negotiation table.
Professor, talk to me about China's important role here and its strained relationship with the DPRK until recently, when Kim visited Beijing. Right.
As we know well, yesterday's really important thing is that ending the Korean War. So replacing the 1953 armistice with the peace treaty whatsoever is very important. As we know well, China was an involving actor in the Korean War. So China, North Korea, and United States was a major actor, signed the armistice in 1953. So if we want to transform the current, military tension or Cold War kind of situation between North and South Korea in Northeast Asia in general, replacing the 1953 armistice is very important. And then China is a major player in replacing this armistice into a peace treaty. So some kind of reconciliation, not just between North Korea and the United States, but as we know well, North Korean relations under the Kim Jong Un with President Xi has not been so good for the past 6 years. So China's some proactive role in replacing the armistice or ending the Korean War would be very important.
All right, we'll leave it there. Professor Myung-koo Kang, thank you so much.